Thank you for being here. I'm going to skip the announcements today to go right into the session. Okay. But here's the thing. Before we start, we always look for reasons why we can win. Yes?
Yes, sir.
So all of you are here today. You're taking the time to be here to learn, to grow, whether it's in person, on Zoom, or YouTube Live. So give yourself a round of applause for making a beautiful decision. I'm muted? Okay. I was muted on Zoom. Can everyone hear me on Zoom now? Yes? Okay, awesome. So give yourself another round of applause and pat on the back since they couldn't hear me for being here today, making a great decision to grow. It's important. You know, we've been programmed so much to keep looking for reasons why we can't, why we're not good enough. And that's why we lack the motivation to go after what we want. Would you agree? So little things like this is important for you to recognize because these are all the building blocks in your belief system of why you're someone who deserves everything you want. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes,
awesome. Now, today's session, I want to talk about goal setting, but more importantly, goal achieving. Now, there's a lot of content. There's a lot of things I could talk about in this topic. I actually had to cut a lot of things out in order to make it fit in an hour and a half. But this is going to be a little bit different than our other goal setting and achieving trainings that we've done in the past, right? We're not going to do the questionnaire like we did in the other ones. I'm going to more focus on a lot of the technical and tangible stuff in the beginning. So we're going to talk about why you should set goals, why it's so important. We're going to talk about the things that people are concerned about that keeps them from setting goals. So we can handle some of those objections. We can handle some of those fears. And in that, a lot of your questions might be answered when it comes to goal setting. And then I'm going to go over a little bit of my own goal setting technique that I use for my big goals, my purpose, and the long-term goals that are important in all our lives. Is that okay with everyone? And then I'll go into goal achieving. So I've kind of put this into 3 different parts. Part 1 is going to be why goals and what are the things that keep you from it. Part 2 is how to set goals. And part 3 is how to actually achieve them. Is that all right?
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. The topic today is goal setting, but I'm not focusing on little goals like, losing 10 pounds or those are important. Those are great. I have nothing against them. But the goals are going to be more based on your purpose, more long-term goals, 7 years plus. Is that okay with everyone? So that's what it's more tailored around, because I think most people understand the value of setting, those smaller goals that we go after in like 3 months, in 6 months. But we want to talk about how to define your purpose, your path, everything. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, let me share my screen so that everyone on Zoom can see the notes and so can you. And then we're going to go right into it. So here's the first thing. When it comes to goal setting, we need to talk about what a visionary is, because a visionary is really someone who's not only got the right goals, but they've learned how to achieve it. Is that fair?
Yes.
So here's how we define a visionary person. A visionary is an individual who possesses a clear and compelling vision of the future and the ability to see possibilities that others might not. The ability to see beyond the present and articulate a compelling future. Now, here's why this is important to understand. Many people, when they have a big goal that they're going after, and they go and share that goal with their friends, their family members, they're shocked, disappointed, and discouraged with the lack of support. Is that fair? Many times those people say, well, that sounds unrealistic. How would you ever do it? Who do you know? That's a common thing that you hear, especially from negative associations. Is that fair?
Yes.
And unless you're, a child of Tony Robbins, probably the people around you are not that personally developed, and they're probably not in that mindset. So you can't really expect much. But here's the thing that I want to remind you. Your vision, your goals are your vision and your goals. Is that clear?
Yes.
It's not someone else's. So how could you expect someone else to be excited about something they haven't seen that you only have seen? Think about that for a second. How do you expect someone else to support you, to believe in you when they haven't seen what you've seen? See, when I was 19, when I was 20, and I made that goal of making $1 million a year by the time I was 27, I saw that vision. I saw that reality. And I started talking to people about it. But my friends didn't see that same vision. My family members didn't see that same reality. So was I shocked when they were all, a little bit disbelieving or maybe discouraging towards me about it? I was, because I didn't know this stuff. I was shocked. I was like, oh, what the hell is this? Because like you guys, I expected them to support me, to be on my, go do it. But here's the thing. When I look back now, and after everything that I've learned, I'm not surprised at all by their reaction. Because why should they have believed that I could achieve it? 1, they haven't seen that vision. 2, I hadn't actually given them any realistic evidence that I'm that type of person. Is that clear? By the way, that's part of goal setting. When you set a goal, the goal is meant to make more of you. That means it's meant to transform who you are today to being that person that can achieve those results. And you've seen that transformation in that vision, in that goal, but everyone else hasn't. They're judging you based on what they know of you. Is that clear? Yes. So here's the first thing I want to talk about. Joe Dispenza talks about something that's so important, okay? For those of you that don't know who Joe Dispenza is, he's a neuroscientist. He's an expert when it comes to epigenetics, quantum physics. I mean, the guy really knows what he's talking about. He's got the theory down. He's done the research. He's helped many people in this area. And here's one thing that he talks about that is so important. He says, memory is the past. Imagination is the future. If you are using the same circuits in your brain that are connected to the past, you are going to create the same future. Have you noticed how some people are in an abusive relationship or a negative relationship and they break up with that person, but then their next relationship is basically the same thing as the last one? Have you ever noticed that happening? Or maybe one person has a problem at their job, so they quit their job and go to a new job, and then they have the same problem? Isn't that interesting? Or many people who leave one country hoping for a better future in another country, and then when they go into that other country, they seem to sometimes find the same problems and issues. Is that right or is that wrong? Okay, so this is what this means right here. I'm going to read it one more time. If you're using the same circuits in your brain that are connected to the past, you're going to create the same future. Most people's life is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 unique years that are repeated for the next 50. Is that clear? Yes. Because most people at some point stop growing. You know when that point is usually? When they graduate university, right? When they stop going after bigger goals, when they settle. When they settle is when they stop having new experiences. The faces change. The external world changes. Maybe they're in another job setting, another office setting. Maybe the person they're in a relationship with has a different name and different physical attributes. But the problems keep repeating themselves over and over and over. It's like a nightmare, right? It's like Groundhog Day. You know how he wakes up every morning and it's the same day over and over? People are living the same life year after year after year. And the reason it's not changing is because they are no longer using their imagination. They're only using their memory. Is that clear with you? Okay. So here's what he says. But if you are using your imagination, you are making new circuits in your brain. You are rewiring your brain to a new future. Joe Dispenza is a neuroscientist. He's not a motivational speaker, okay? He's not, a part of the secret camp, okay? He's a neuroscientist. He does scientific research, and he looks into the brain, and everything he does is backed with science. Does that make sense? Yes. Now, some of you are like, well, you know what? I don't know about Joe Dispenza. Okay, what about Einstein? Okay, because Einstein, that guy kind of knew what he was talking about. He's a little bit smart. Whenever you want to define somebody being smart, who do you use? Einstein, right? You're like Einstein, Okay, so can we believe him if you don't believe Joe Dispenza? So guess what Einstein says? Imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited to all we know and understand. Okay? While imagination embraces the entire world. And all there ever will be to know and understand. By the way, you know who a real scientist is? Someone who's open-minded. Because science is meant to discover. Yes. Is that clear? Yes. So meaning, if you're someone who wants to discover, you have to be very good at using your imagination and being open to new concepts, because that's the only way we can evolve into new understandings. Is that clear with you? Yes. Here's another quote about imagination. Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. Albert Einstein. So the power of imagination is your ability to imagine a more compelling future, a better future, something new to what you've already experienced in life. But unfortunately, most people make all their decisions based on what's happened to them in the past. But aren't you changing every day? Aren't you meant to be growing? Aren't you meant to be learning? Aren't you meant to be developing? So how can you judge your future based on a you that you no longer are? Actually think about it. So this is why this is so important. This is why creating a new goal, a new vision for your future is so critical, because until you can envision a better future, you will not begin to create it. We're standing in this building, yes? Yes. How did this building come to be? Did someone just snap and it ended up being here? A person first imagined this building, yes or no? Yes. Then they took that imagination to an architect and had the architect put it into a plan, a map. Yes or no? Okay. Then there was construction workers and individuals, builders that came together to make it come to place. Yes or no?
Yes.
Doesn't everything in our life come in that way?
Yes.
Think about it for a second. You fly on a plane, don't you?
Yeah.
How did that plane come to be? No, none of you know how plane. You just ride it and you've never researched. Anyone here heard of the Wright brothers? Like this is yeah, okay. Because I'm kind of weird right now. I'm like, the Wright brothers imagined human beings could fly. By the way, when the Wright brothers went to their friends and family, you think they were like, yeah, go for it. That's a great idea. Oh, fly. That sounds good. Make sure we get a first class seat. Do you think that was the reaction? By the way, you do understand these people were not the people you know of. Like now we look back and we go, the Wright brothers. Right? Henry Ford. We look back now. But at the time, they were just a regular person that no one believed in, just like they don't believe in you. Now, let me ask you a question. What if somebody killed the Wright brothers' imagination? What if somebody went to them and said, you'll never make it happen, and they actually listened? Would we still be flying around today? I don't know. Maybe someone else would have figured it out, but that's a big risk. Yes or no?
Yes.
Your imagination, your goals are that valuable. Just like how there's many great people like Einstein and many others that have come before us that use their imagination to envision things that no one else saw and then went after it until it became a reality. You might be the next Einstein. How do you know? You might not be, but you also might be. But isn't it worth giving it a shot?
Yes.
Isn't it worth making an effort to see what you're really made of?
Yes.
Because all of us can look back and thank God that Einstein, Wright brothers, all these individuals that have created everything that we benefit from today were mentally tough enough to go on even when they wanted to quit. No one came and stole their dream, or at least they didn't let them steal the dream. Yes or no?
Yes.
So here's the question. Why not you? Actually think about it. You know, it's easy to sit there and disqualify yourself, but what was Einstein going on before he was Einstein? Haven't you heard the story of Disney? Right? How he was told that he has no creativity, that he has no imagination, that he should give it up, that it's not for him. That's who he was back then. But he decided to give it a shot and go after it anyways. And you know why I'm mentioning this? Because the number one reason why people don't set goals, the number one reason why people don't create a compelling future for themselves is because they're afraid of failure. They're afraid of failure. That's the number one reason. The number one reason why people won't set goals, they'll make up stuff to you, and I'll go through some of the stuff they make up so we can go through it together. But the number one reason, all the reasons that they come up with to tell you this is why I don't set goals, this is why I don't do it, all comes back to fear. Fear of failure and fear of disappointment. And I'm going to come to this in a second, and we're going to talk about it. But that's why I wanted to share that with all of you, because I genuinely believe in all human beings. Yeah, I know all of us are not going to be like an Elon Musk. I'm not delusional. We're not all going to be LeBron James. Everyone has their own talent and greatness. But isn't it a shame that so many people die without ever finding their talent or their greatness?
Yes.
And my goal, my purpose in life is to inspire people to go after what they want so they can become the best version of themselves.
Let's go.
Is that clear for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about why you need to set goals. Here's the first reason. It gives you direction and focus. If you don't know where you're going nowhere. Let's actually talk about it for a second. When you want to plan a vacation or a trip, what's the first thing that you do?
Find a destination.
Is the first thing you do? Chandler said talk to Sylvia. That is part of it. But you got to go to Sylvia and let her know where you want to go. You can't just go to Sylvia and be like, hey, I want to travel. How do I get there? Sorry, how do you get where? I don't know. I just want to figure out the how before I figure out where I'm going. That's how most people live their life. Most people are concerned about a how that they don't even know how to what. If your friend drives by your house, calls you and goes, hey, come downstairs, and you go downstairs and say, let's go. And then you go, where are we going? And they go, I don't know. Let's just go. Now, some of you are adventurous and you have nothing to do with your life, so you'll go. And by the way, I have nothing against you. Good for you. You're in that time of your life, you got nothing to do. You're like, whatever, it's better than what I was doing before. But most people wouldn't get in that car because they don't know where they're going. They don't know how long it's going to be before they get there. They don't know what kind of clothes they should pack. Is that clear? So that's why it's so important to have a goal, because it gives you direction. It gives you something to actually focus on. It gives you a reason to wake up. Is that clear?
Yes.
Here's another reason, motivation. If you feel unmotivated, if you feel a little bit depressed, if you feel like you don't know what to do with your life, I bet it's because you don't have a goal. Why would you be motivated if you're not going anywhere? Why would you wake up early in the morning if you have nothing to do? I know you have a job, but your job is to just survive, no?
Yes.
I know you go to school, but if you have no goals to going to school and you're just going because you want to impress your Persian parents or whatever, it's not a goal. But we're laughing, but let's be honest. Most people do things just to do them. They go to a job just to pay the bills. They go to school just to make their friends and family members happy, even though they don't really know why they're going. I mean, they'll tell you, yeah, I want to start a business, but they don't even know what they're talking about. You know how I know? Because I was one of those kids at some point, and so were you. That's a reality. Now, if there are some younger people that really figured it out, awesome. But for me, when I was going to school, I looked around, I'm like, no one knows why they're here, including me. We're just here so that people don't think we're going to be homeless. That's what I realized. And that's why I'm like, I need to drop. And some of the kids were like, well, we're figuring out what we want to do by being here. I'm like, you're figuring out what you want to do by sitting in a classroom and taking useless information? How you figure out what you want to do is by going and doing it. Well, Nima, how do I know if I want to be a doctor? Go work at a doctor's office for a year. Volunteer, right, for free. People take free employees all the time, no problem. You go to a doctor and go, hey, I just want to work here for free. Is that possible? And just watch their lifestyle. Watch how they enjoy what they do. Maybe interview them once in a while. Hey, I got a question. How did you like your day today? Is that not a bad? Wouldn't that be a good idea before you go through 12 years of education and invest $500,000? Yes. Wouldn't it be a good idea to go to a construction site and work alongside a project manager before you go through all the years of schooling before becoming a project manager? Yeah. See, you don't know what you want to do by studying it. You know what you want to do by doing it or watching someone else do it and figuring out, is this what I want my day-to-day look like? That's a reality of it. Now, look, no one comes and tells us this. No one teaches us this as young people, so we're just going to go with the flow. But after a year of being in university, I kind of looked around. I'm like, I don't want to waste my time here anymore. And I dropped out, and then I came to my goal of wanting to start a business, and I'll talk about that in a second, and then I went towards it. But back then, I wasn't motivated. As motivated as you see me now, back then I wasn't motivated. And honestly, I was a little bit depressed. Because after I failed to become a professional soccer player, I didn't really have direction in my life anymore. I didn't really know why I was, waking up and getting after what? For me, I found that I'm someone who's happiest when I'm chasing a goal that is helping me grow and challenging me. Is that clear for you? Yeah. And you might be the same. So it's going to help motivate you. It's going to help give you some purpose. And we're going to talk about how you create a purpose in a second here. Here's another thing. It gives you a way to measure your progress. Whether you have a fitness and health goal, whether you have a goal of a certain income that you want or a certain amount of savings, whatever your goal is, it gives you a way to progress. It gives you a way to measure that progress. If you want to be a better musician, you have a way to measure progress now. Is that clear? Yes. So by having that, now you know if you're actually getting closer or farther. If we want to go to, let's say, Kelowna, okay, and we don't know how to get to Kelowna, what is the first step? For us to put into the navigation system, yes or no? Yes. What is the navigation system supposed to do? It's supposed to give us an idea how close we're getting to our destination or not. Yes. Is that clear? Yes. When you don't have a goal in life, how do you know if you're getting close to something or not close to it? And here's the last thing, and in my opinion, the most important reason why you should have a goal. It improves your decision-making process. Many of you decided to join our business, and I'm thankful that you're here. I'm sure you'll succeed. You're in the right place. Give yourself a round of applause for making that great decision. If you have a goal, making that decision is a lot easier. It's hard to know what to say yes to and what to say no to if you don't have any goals to measure it by. Is that clear? See, when you're driving and you have a navigation system and you have a target on that navigation system, now you know when you should take a right, when you should take a left. You also know when you went the wrong way and you got to do a U-turn. Is that clear? But when you don't have a goal, how do you know if you're making good decisions or bad decisions? How do you know if the decisions you're making are wasting your time or actually using your time productively? You don't. That's why having a goal is so important, because it allows you to improve your decision-making process and it gives you confidence when you make a decision. That way, you're not constantly second-guessing whether this is the right thing or the wrong thing. You know why people quit things so often? Because they don't know why they got into it in the first place. Most people just get into stuff for no reason, and that's why they quit when things get hard. Because like, why am I here in the first place? That was me with university. I had no reason to be there, so as soon as I got bored, I'm like, I don't know why I'm staying here, and I left. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is this good so far? Or am I boring you? Because it's okay, awesome. Now let's talk about why people don't set goals. Let's talk about what keeps them from. So we already touched on the first one: fear of failure and wanting to avoid disappointments. When we say avoid disappointments, is that talking from memory or imagination? See, the person goes, I remember I set these goals, and they didn't happen, and I felt bad after. And because I felt bad, I don't want to set another goal because I don't want to feel bad again. And some people have such a fear of failure where they go, what if I set this goal and I fail? And for them, they value avoiding the feeling of failure more than they value getting better results in their life. There is a lot of people that value avoiding the pain of failure much more than they value being rich, successful, and happy, honestly speaking. And it's a form of programming. And you know what I blame? I blame the school system. You know why I blame the school system? Because when we were babies and we were learning how to walk, no one gave us an F when we fell. Any of your parents gave us F, you fell. Like you're a toddler. Failure. Is that what they did? No more walking for you, only wheelchairs. Is that how your walking experience was? Or did somebody just, watch you fail, clap for you, pick you back up, told you to keep going until you learn to walk? How about learning how to ride a bike? You fell, loser. Is that what happened? By the way, that's what happens in the school system. I mean, if that happened to you, I'm so sorry for your childhood. That's a tough childhood. I'm so sorry about you. Hopefully you get the help you need to recover from that trauma. But either way, when you were learning how to bike, you fell, right? Maybe you cried, maybe you scraped your knees a little bit, but you got back up and kept trying because your friends were like, dude, it's okay, we fell too. Your parents were like, it's okay, we fell too. It's normal, keep going. But then as soon as we got into school, what happened? If you fail, we'll send you back. We'll embarrass you. We'll make sure you're ashamed. We'll tell your parents. And then they'll be ashamed in you as well. Isn't that the experience? The nightmare is failure. Not trying over and over again until you succeed. But what if I fail that one time and my teacher embarrasses me in front of all the other students, embarrasses me in front of my parents? What if they send me back and I'm going to be a loser and a stupid person for the rest of my life? That's what the school system really did. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't know if there's a reason for them doing it that way or not. But the reality is in life, you're given the test and then the lesson. In the school system, you're given the lesson and then the test. But then you know what happens to most people? That's how they expect the rest of their life to be. They go, before I start a business, I want all the lessons of business. That's not how it works. The way you learn business is by the same way you learn how to walk. You're going to do this. You're going to have a rough idea of what you need to do. And then you're going to fail and make mistakes until you learn how to do business. Just like with learning how to play the guitar, just like with fitness, just like with anything else. So here's what you need to know. In order to overcome this fear of failure that we're all programmed with, you have to change your perspective on what failure actually means. To me, failure is a stepping stone to success, not a detour away from it. It's not like, oh, I failed, so now I'm going the wrong way, and if I succeed, I'm going the right way. It's like, I failed, that means I'm going the right way. So I got to just keep failing until I finally succeed. Do you think when I started my YouTube channel and Instagram, all the videos were perfect? No, they were not that good. If you go look back, there's a lot of problems in it. There's a lot of mistakes in it. But how would I have known what things that I had to get better at or what mistakes I had to resolve if I never failed in the first place? How would I know how? By the way, why would you get better if you don't fail? Actually think about it. If every time you did something, you succeeded right away, how do you get better? Is it even possible? See, I got to come and do a session. I got to suck at it. People have to kind of go, wow, that was not that good. And then I got to go feel a little bit bad and go, next time I'm going to be more prepared. Next time I'm going to come out and do this and that. And so that's how I get better and better. If I come here and immediately it's a standing ovation, then I just go home and go, I'm gifted and I never need to work on it again. Failure is required to give us the motivation we need to actually get better so we can get what we really want. You know what's the worst thing that could happen to someone? Premature success. Nothing is worse than premature success. Nothing is worse than beginner's luck, because it gives you this fake confidence that eventually gets you either because you never reach your full potential, or because once you fail, you can never go back because you had this ego built up that you just naturally gifted God. But you know what I love? When I have someone in our business, I love the person who fails over and over again and keeps coming back. You know who I'm looking for? I'm not looking for the person who comes here and books 20 meetings right away, gets all the closes, gets licensed within a week. I'm looking for that person who sucks at everything in the business, but they just can't quit. They just don't have it in them to quit. They just keep coming back for more. They just keep, and I'm like, this person's gonna build millions of dollars here, because I know their character now is someone that nothing will stop them. But that person that succeed, whether it's because they got a little lucky, whether it's because they had some past experiences that helped them, they haven't been tested yet. And I'm watching and I'm going, let's see what happens when the no's come. Let's see what happens when the team members quit. Let's see what happens when roses are not, all red and the rainbows aren't out and everyone's not high-fiving them. Let's see what happens when they start losing, because that's when I'm going to find out if they're a champion or if they're just someone who had beginner's luck and they're going to quit pretty soon here. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. So for me, I'm so programmed to believe failure is good that I actually, I admire and I'm inspired by people who fail over and over again but don't quit. By the way, here's another thing. How do you define who's a failure and who's a success? Think about it. How do you define who's a failure and who's a success? See, here's my definition. I'll give you my definition and you can steal mine. I think it's a pretty good one. I believe a successful person is someone who is pursuing a goal. I know there's some typos. Don't blame me. Okay? But either way, it's okay. Pay attention to the information. A successful person is someone who's pursuing a worthy goal and striving to be a better person along the way. Striving to be a better version of themselves along the way. I don't care how much money they make or don't make. I don't care how successful they become or don't become at their endeavor. I'm looking for someone who's chasing a worthy goal that is going to make them a better version of themselves by being on that journey and on that path. You know who's a failure? Somebody who stops striving to be a better version of themselves. By the way, it doesn't matter. You could be learning how to garden. You could be learning how to play a new instrument. You could be learning to be a better parent. It doesn't matter what you're learning. But if you're not striving and learning new things and growing from that, then in my opinion, you're a complete failure. I don't care how much money you have or how much success you had in the past. Success is not something you own. Success can only be rented, and the rent is due every single day. So no one, well, I shouldn't say no one cares. I mean, you're respected for the things you've done in the past, but what you've done in the past has no reflection of your future. So if you stop getting after it, if you stop growing, if you stop trying to be a better version of you, then to me, you're a failure now. Maybe you were a success before, but now you're a failure. Last session, when I talked about the zombies are failures in my opinion. They're people who stopped having dreams. They're people who got down on themselves and decided that now my job in life is to make sure no one has a dream, because if they do, it's a reflection on how I gave up. It's a reminder of the things that I regret. So that's a success and a failure for me. So to me, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be disappointed by. Because as long as you're pursuing it and giving it your best, you're a successful person. And when I came to this definition, it was a sigh of relief for me. Because I had this thing in my mind of constantly feeling like a failure. And if you feel like a failure, you will never become successful. So in order to get rid of that, you have to redefine what it means to be a failure and a success. And you got to make the rules a lot easier for yourself. Is this clear or am I losing some people? Okay, let's continue. Here's the next thing. Most people's strategy for avoiding disappointment and failure is actually a guarantee that they will be disappointed and fail. Actually, think about it. What is most people's strategy to avoiding disappointment and failure? Their strategy is, I'm not going to take any risks. I'm not going to try any new things. I'm not going to get out of my comfort zones. I'm not going to go and do something that I haven't done before because I might fail or disappoint myself. But here's what I've learned in life. You can only run for so long. The predator of life will find you eventually. And here's the bad part about it. You run, you run, you run. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 60 years, 7 years, avoiding. And then all of a sudden you're on your deathbed and regret finds you. And regret is the ultimate failure. regret is the ultimate disappointment. And at that point, there's nothing you can do about it. Because as you're laying there, you realize you didn't even live a life. You just repeated the same year over and over and over again and called it a life. New shows, new hangout spots, new picnics, new towels to set on the beach, in the same exact beach year after year. And then you go, did I even live? And then what? See, when you avoid pain, pain will find you. And it's a torture when it finds you. Here's what I mean by that. When you go to the gym, you're putting your body through pain. That pain is going to help you avoid the pain of cancer, hopefully, or other diseases, or other injuries, or other body issues. Yes or no? Yes. Okay. When you go and suffer the pain of getting out of your comfort zone, of failing, of trying something new, and you're not good at it, and people make fun of you, and you eventually become successful, then you go, okay, well, I made it, I'm good. But if you don't do that, eventually a crisis happens. Eventually something happens and you go, I wish I had money. I wish I had a business. I wish I had a better physical health. I wish I had a better body. Yes or no? Yes. So whatever you avoid will eventually find you. Whatever you go towards, you can actually avoid. So if you want to avoid pain, go towards pain. Put your body under pain by going to the gym. Put your mind under pain by going through some emotional challenges, by having people's disapproval, by taking chances, by having people judge you. Is that clear? Yeah. And I promise you, by doing that, you'll avoid those things. But if you try to avoid them the way most people do, it'll find you. And when it finds you, it'll be too late. And when it's too late, no one can save you at that point. Does this make sense to everyone, or am I losing you? Here's the next thing. They don't want to set goals because they don't know how to achieve them. Okay. Do you know exactly how to get to Dubai? Other than getting on a plane, do you know the directions to getting to Dubai? Like if the plane wasn't there, so should you not travel to Dubai then? What is the first thing you do? Just actually think about it when you're planning a trip somewhere you've never gone before. You pick the destination, then you go and find out how to get there. You find out how many different planes you have to take because there might be stops. You might have to take a ferry. You might have to take a cruise. You might have, who knows, depending on where you're going, you might have different routes. Some routes are more expensive, some are less expensive. Some fit your budget, some don't fit your budget. Yes or no? But isn't the first step to make a decision on where you want to go? Okay. So does this even make sense? Yes. This makes sense that they don't want to set goals because they don't know how to get there? No. Shouldn't you set the goal and then figure it out? So again, what is that? It's a fear of failure. It's a fear of failure again. They're using I don't know how as a way to avoid failure. It's a convenient excuse that their friends approve of. They go, you're right. You don't know how to be a millionaire, so don't even think about it. Don't go read the books. Don't go talk to people. Just avoid it. You know why they say that? Because they're avoiding it too. Actually, as soon as you go after it, those friends come after you like the zombies they are. You might be wondering why. It's not because they don't like you. It's because your success will be their nightmare. Your success will be their nightmare because as soon as you do achieve that goal, then they'll look around and say, how come we didn't get after it? Because see, they can make an excuse for me because they don't know me. They can make an excuse for people that they see on Instagram, YouTube, because they don't know those people. They could even make lies up like, oh, they don't have it. They're faking it. They could do all of that. But when it's their friend, their family member, who's just like them, who's one of them, that makes it, what are you going to do then? Oh, I know what you're going to do. You're going to call it a scam, right? Because what else are you going to do? Admit that they're better than you? Admit that they're mentally tougher than you? Admit that they went after it and they weren't afraid just like you were? No, because if you admit that, then you have to change. Because you're not going to admit that you're a fearful person and then sleep at night. You got to lie. You got to make up stuff. And there's some people who are so aggressive with this, they will go through to such lengths to try to prove that that person is not actually successful. Because they can't fall asleep when they realize they do. Because there's no way all these smart, intelligent people can call something like this a scam because they're smart and intelligent. They're not idiots, right? But they have to call it something because what else are they going to say? Because if they admit that they could do it just like their friend did, guess what they got to do tomorrow? Quit their job and get here and get the license and start facing rejection. Now, if someone says, you know what, that's not for me, I just don't see myself doing that, that's okay. But when you're negative about it, you're running away from something. And again, you can only run away for so long. Is that clear? Yes. So here's the reality. Don't worry about the how, look for the who. Don't worry about the how, look for the who. You don't even need to know how to achieve a goal. You just need to find the person who's already achieved it. You want to be really fit? Find the person who's fit. You find that person, they'll tell you all the how-to. They'll even motivate you to do it. They'll even relate with your current problems and current challenges. By the way, if you're on your phone and taking notes, you don't need to take notes because I'm going to send the notes to you.
Nice.
Just so you guys know. And I want you to pay attention because if I'm looking at you and if you're still taking notes, then I'm going to start calling you out and then we're going to have a little bit of a problem. So if you just do me one a favor and just put your phone away and don't do that. Is this clear with everyone though so far? Yeah. Look for the who, not the how. When you find the right people, they'll show you the how. And I'm going to teach you guys how I did this with my goal when I was 19, 20, when I had no idea how to do anything. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second, but I just want you to keep that in mind. Here's another thing. You can't find the how if you don't start looking. And the only time you're going to start looking is by actually having a goal in the first place. We all have something called a reticular activation system. Okay? Your reticular activation system is designed to focus only on the things that matter to you. So if I told you right now, look for things that are yellow in this room. Look, do it right now. If you're watching me on Zoom or YouTube Live, look around your room or wherever you are for things that are yellow and start identifying it.
Right behind you.
Okay, cool. You don't need to call it out. Identify for yourself. But thank you, Robson.
Just participate.
Actually, no, I appreciate that. Some people aren't, but I appreciate you are. But look for things that are yellow. Now, as you start finding those things that are yellow, here's my question for you. Were they not there before? How come you didn't notice it? Because it wasn't important to you. It didn't matter to you. So because it didn't matter and it wasn't important to you, your reticular activation system didn't start looking for it. Imagine how many different things are going on as we speak right now. If we were to focus on all of it, we'd go nuts. So your brain has to only focus on a limited number of things in your environment that matter to you because that's relevant. So when you identify a goal and vision, your brain starts to look for that thing. It starts to look for those opportunities. This is why really smart, talented, educated, hardworking people never get rich. Because here's why. Actually think about it. Because they're looking for $50,000 a year salary. They're looking for $100,000 a year salary. They're looking for a secure job. They're smart, they're hardworking, they're capable. But they never get rich because they're only looking for this much. Why? Because somebody told them that that's available to you. Because the people around them are making $60,000. So if they make $100,000, they're a hero now. Does that make sense? Because they think that's all that's available to them. Imagine if I take you to a room full of gold. And I'm like, you can take as much as you want. And you just take a teaspoon. You go, I'm just going to take, that's all I want. A room full of gold. How many of you would take a truck and a few trucks? Robson will call all his friends from Brazil. Okay? Guys, bring it. Yeah. Yes or no? That's, but that's life. Life is like a room full of gold that most people take a teaspoon to.
Amen.
You have not because you ask not. God doesn't stop giving, people stop receiving. These are facts. See, the reticular activation system is focused on $100,000 a year salary, $50,000 a year salary. That's why they miss all the $1 million opportunities. They see videos like this and they go, that's not for me. Who knows who this guy is? Blah. Right? Because they're not looking for this. That's the power of a reticular activation system. That's the power of looking for what you want. What you want, not what somebody told you can have, not what you think you can have from a limiting time belief. What you actually want. Is that fair?
Yes.
And again, when I go over how I set my goals, this is going to be a lot more clear for a lot of you. Here's another thing. They believe having a goal will diminish or delay their happiness. These are our enlightened friends. Okay? And I love them. But they think, if I have a desire for something better, I can't enjoy today. Okay, that's not wrong. It's true if you program yourself to only be happy once you get what you want. It's true if you've programmed yourself to believe that happiness is a future event once you get what you want. If that's the case, yes, you shouldn't even have goals and you should go figure yourself out. But let me give you some tips. Instead of avoiding having goals, just change the programming. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Achieving better financial results in your life, better health, will not make you happier. It will make you less stressed. It will make you more proud, but it will not make you happier. Happiness is an emotion that you can experience at any time in your life. Is that clear?
Yes.
It's a choice whether you let yourself be happy or not. No amount of money will make you happy. No amount of health will make you happy. It will only make you less stressed, which can help you be happier, and it will only make you more proud. But happiness is a choice. I was happy when I was broke, and I was just as happy when I was rich. No difference. I tell you, ask me what percentage my happiness increased. 0. My stress went down a lot. My anxiety went down a lot. My pride and my belief and my confidence in myself went up a lot. But my happiness didn't change at all. So you have to realize your goal is not meant to make you happy. It's meant to make you better. Your goals are not meant to make you happy. They're meant to make you better. They're meant to challenge you and help you evolve. Is that clear?
Yes.
And here's another thing I want you to remember. The goal is the destination. The goal is the destination, but the joy is in the journey. And let me tell you something. You set a goal to achieve something in 10 years. What are you going to do? Be miserable for 10 years until you achieve it? What a weird way to live a life. You got to enjoy that 10-year journey until you get to your goal. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he was complaining about his finances, and he's a go-getter. He's hardworking. He's ambitious. He wants to make it happen. He's in the right opportunity. He's working with us to become successful. You know what I told him? I said, bro, let me give you some advice. Enjoy being broke. Because once you get rich, you'll never be broke again. If you do it right, once you get rich, you'll never be broke again. So enjoy these moments. I know it sucks right now when you're broke and when you're stressed, but once you figure it out and get rich, you never go back there anyways. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience being poor and broke, if you do it right. So I'm like, enjoy it. Because sometimes I look back and I go, wow, those times were not that bad, but I kind of made it bad for myself by being discouraged instead of being grateful. It takes way longer to get there than when you get there. You work hard for years and years and years, and once you get there, it's a moment of joy. So if you just sacrifice all that happiness for that moment, what's the point of life? Learn to enjoy the journey, because that's all it's about. Guess what happens when you get a goal? When you get your goal, you'll probably come up with a new one anyways. So if you don't learn to enjoy the journey, you're only going to enjoy a few moments in your life, and that's pretty miserable. Here's the next thing when it comes to this. Learn to measure the gain, not the gap. Learn to measure the gain, not the gap. Instead of looking how far you are from your goal, look how far you've already become. So many people feel this way because they're always looking at the gap. Well, this is how far I am. This is how far I am. But what about the gain? Why don't you look at how different you are from what you were before? Why don't you look at how much you've learned so far? Some of you are sitting here, are very happy with where you're at in the business. Some of you are not so happy. But does that mean you didn't do anything worthwhile this whole time? Did you not grow? Did you not change? Did you not become better? Did you not learn something new? Focus on the gain, not the gap. Some people think if I focus on the gap, it makes me more motivated. No, it makes you more depressed. And depression does not create motivation. But when you look at the gain, when you look at what you're grateful for, when you look at how far you've gone, that's what creates motivation. That's what creates enthusiasm. That's what gives you the motivation to keep going. Is that clear for everyone, or am I okay? Good. And here's the last thing when it comes to this. Reward yourself for taking action, not for the results. The reason I didn't quit when it was so hard was because I was rewarding myself for the daily action, because I knew if I keep doing the right things would happen. The biggest mistake that people make is they only reward themselves for the results. I actually don't even reward myself for results. I only reward myself for taking the right actions, because I knew, no, sooner or later with the right actions, the results will come. You guys are taking notes? I'll stop and see if you're taking notes, because I see you on your phone. So no? Okay, good. By the way, that's part of achieving goals, is your ability to focus for like an hour. If you can't focus on a session for an hour, that's an area that you need to work on, okay? And for those of you that I'm seeing on your phone, I'm going to tell you how you can work on it in the future, because I have the same issue as you, so don't worry about it. Are we okay so far? Yes. Okay. Here's the last one when it comes to this, and then we're going to go into goal setting and then goal achieving. Cool? Yes. Here's another thing that people say. I don't know what my passion or purpose is, so I can't formulate a goal. Here's the thing. A purpose is a goal that you are emotionally connected with. That's all it is. Don't make it bigger than that. right? And here, and let me share something with you in case you're waiting. No one's coming. No one's coming. The Tooth Fairy isn't coming. Cinderella isn't coming. Okay, Robin Hood isn't coming. No one's gonna. This is not the movies. No one's gonna come and give you a pill that makes you limitless. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to bang you on the head with a purpose. Okay, this is not Spider-Man. You're not gonna get bit by a spider and all of a sudden have a purpose to save the world. I'm just letting you know because some of you seem to be waiting. Because some of you are like, where's my purpose? It's not gonna find you. You're gonna find it. Your purpose is not something that finds you. It's not something that hits you on the head. It's not like, I understand that like for Newton and stuff, an apple hit him in the head. I don't know the full story there. But don't wait for the apples. If most people, an apple hits them in the head, it's a concussion. Okay? It's not, discovering gravity. So your purpose will not find you. You will find it if you actually take the time to develop it. And a purpose is a goal that you can connect with emotionally. It's the ability for you to connect your head with your heart. Your head is the logic. It's the one that says, I want $1 million. The heart is the reasons for the $1 million. If you want $1 million, but you don't have a reason to get there, you'll never get there because the heart and the head are not connecting. The law of attraction is your ability to connect your head to your heart, to connect what you think you want with what you actually want. So if you set a goal, but you don't have a reason to achieve it, you're not going to achieve it. But the bigger the reasons are for you to achieve that goal, the more likely you are to achieve it. You know why you get discouraged? Because your reasons aren't big enough. Yes. Right? Because if you need to get rich because you need to save your family members, or you need to save someone, or you need to help someone, then what's to get discouraged about? You got a mission. You're going to make that mission happen. Yes or no? Yes. In war, there is no funerals. When a war is happening and your friend gets shot, there is no funeral for your friend. You got to move because if you don't move, you get shot too. When you're living on your purpose, that's what you're like. Because life's going to happen whether you like it or not. Distractions are going to happen, major distractions, minor distractions. Things are going to happen that are out of your control. Things that seem to be unfair. That's going to happen. The difference before whether you move on fast or you stay there and become a victim because of it is how big your purpose is. Because if you got a purpose to win a war and save your country, you can't have a funeral for your friend. I'm sorry. It's tough. But you don't have, because you're going to get shot if you don't move, and your country is going to die, and all your family and friends are going to die at home. So you cry a little bit, but you're running while you're crying. So if you're stuck, if you feel stagnant, if you feel stuck, if you can't get off your phone, like Ali can't here, okay, for the third time, okay, then maybe you need to have a bigger reason and purpose. Okay, for me, I have a big purpose. I know everyone here is giving me an hour and a half of their life. Everyone, whether you're in person, whether you're on YouTube, I cherish that. Because that's an hour and a half you could have spent with your family, with your friends, and on Netflix. So when I see someone on their phone, I'm going to call them out, and I'm going to call them out without any hesitation. Because if you're here for an hour and a half and you're away from your family and friends, then you got to get something out of this. If you have something better to do on your phone, you shouldn't be here. You should leave. And I'm comfortable with that. I'm not trying to keep anyone here. I'm not charging you money for here. I'm not getting paid for every dollar, every minute you watch. So if you value this enough, stay here because you're sacrificing to be here. Yes or no? Yes. Here's the next thing with passion. Passion is not the feeling you have when you do the daily tasks of what you want to do. Meaning, when somebody says, I'm passionate about fitness, I promise you they're not passionate about lifting a bunch of weights over and over again. That's crazy. Imagine them saying, what are you passionate about? I'm passionate about lifting things that are middle, up and down, while looking in a mirror. Thank you, Bash. You know what they're passionate about? They're passionate about the feeling that they get after a workout. We're not passionate about doing the same presentation over and over and over again for people. You know what we're passionate about? Seeing the spark in a new person's eye when we educate them on something that they didn't know. When I was a kid and I was passionate about soccer, I wasn't passionate about running around with 11 sweaty men chasing a small ball. That's weird. But you know what I was passionate about? Achieving a goal with team members of mine. Having people encourage us, clap for us, seeing the happiness on people's faces when we scored goals. That's what you're passionate about, the result of what you do, not the thing in itself. Because everything ends up becoming repetitive anyways. Everything ends up becoming the same thing over and over again anyways. It's when you're building a video game and you have that happiness and joy when the game is made and you're proud of what you created. Not all the coding that goes into it. That's weird. So here's the thing. In order for you to find your passion, you need to stay in something long enough to see the benefits from it. I'm going to say that one more time. In order for you to find passion, you have to stay in something long enough to see the benefits from it. Because if you keep going and doing these different things, and it sucks because you suck at it, and it's hard because you suck at it, and you keep quitting because you're like, I'm not passionate because it hurts my feelings when I get rejected, you're never going to achieve anything, and you're never going to find a passion because everything is hard in the beginning. Everything sucks in the beginning because you're not that good at it and it's new to you. But you got to stay there long enough to see the benefits. You got to play the guitar long enough to play one good song and see the smile on your mom's face. And then you're like, I'm passionate about guitar. Is that clear? Yes. But if you just play it and you suck at it and your fingers hurt, then why wouldn't you quit? Does this make sense? Yes. Okay, so we're good? Yes. Now let's go into how to set goals, okay? And again, I'm not focusing on little goals like losing 10 pounds or gardening or anything like that. I'm talking about big goals, purpose goals, because the little stuff you already know how to do. I don't need you to tell you how to set a, I'm going to lose 10 pounds goal, okay? But let's talk about how you create those long-term goals. A long-term goal to me is 7 years or more. 7 years or more. Here's what the long-term goal needs to have. It needs to be specific, it needs to be measurable, and it needs to be relevant. And it needs to be time-bound. I'll give you guys an example. My long-term goal when I was 19 years old, when I was 19, I decided to drop out of university and I didn't know what to do with my life. I was reading a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And he taught me the value of writing goals. He taught me the value of designing my life. So I sat there and I said, I want to make $85,000 a month by the time I'm 27. How did I come to that? There's certain questions that I asked myself regarding the lifestyle that I wanted to have. Because a goal is supposed to give you a certain lifestyle. Yes or no? I have a video on YouTube called The 5 Steps to Designing Your Life. If you want to see what that questionnaire is and how I go over it, go watch that video and you'll see it. Okay? But I want to spend the time on that today. But here's the thing. I came up with that goal. But coming up with the goal isn't enough. I needed to make it specific and measurable. $85,000 a month is pretty specific, yes? Measurable was by the time I'm 27. Clear? Okay. That would have given me 8 years. Now, here's the next thing. Relevant. Relevant to what? To my purpose. I needed to connect the head to the heart. I was a kid who was like the black sheep. I wasn't good at school. I wanted to become a professional soccer player. Everyone thought that I was crazy. No one really believed in me. And I felt less than every time I got a report card because I'd be compared to, my cousins who were good at school, who actually studied while I was playing soccer. So for me, when I realized from an audiobook by Brian Tracy that you don't need to go to university to start a business, and I can actually become successful without having good academic results, it gave me hope. It got me out of my depression and made me think, wow, I can do something with my life. And I wanted to give that feeling to another kid that felt like me. So my purpose was very simple, and you can take this purpose because it's befitting to everyone, to be the best version of me and reach my full potential in the time that God has given me on this earth, and in the process, inspire other people to do the same thing. I'm going to say that one more time. If you're lacking a purpose, here's your purpose. Become the best version of you. Strive to become a better version of you. Strive to meet the best version of you in heaven, like Ed Milet says. And in the process, inspire other people to go after that too. Because human beings are like trees. We're meant to grow. We're not meant to stay the same. We're not meant to stagnate. We're meant to continue to grow. And when we stop growing, we find depression. We find unhappiness. Does that make sense? So that's I think every human being's purpose. I think every human being's purpose is to become the best version of themselves so they can leave this place better than they found it. That's a pretty good purpose. And anything that can fit. So I went, why should I make it $85,000 a month? It's not the money for me. For me, it was the person I was going to become en route to that goal. The things that I had to learn, the people I had to meet, the ways I had to expand myself to get there. And for me, the biggest inspiration was a quote that I heard by Jim Rohn. He said, set a goal to be a millionaire, not for the $1 million. Set a goal to be a millionaire for the person it will make of you to get there. He goes, once you get to the $1 million, you can give it away. You don't need the money anymore because you got all the skills and the mindsets. You can make it over and over and over again. And I'm like, I want to be that person. Is that clear? Because the biggest security you will find in this life is in who you become, not what you get. Because what you get can be taken away from you in a snap. But what you become, it's not that easy. Are we clear so far? Yes. Now, here's the next thing. The thing with the long-term goal, it doesn't need to be realistic. With a long-term goal, 7 years or more, It just needs to be measurable, specific, relevant, and time-bound. Realism is not an issue. How to is not an issue because it's long-term. Here's what I did as soon as I set that goal. I started to look for the who's. I had no idea. Listen, when I listened to that audiobook, before that audiobook, I thought you had to get a business degree to start a business. Just pay attention to how much of an idiot I was back then, right? Like, you know how you can go and get a business license for a couple $100 and start a business? I thought you had to get a business because in my mind, I'm logical. I'm like, why would they have business courses in school if you don't need it to start a business? I'm like, engineers need to go to school. So maybe, and then I realized just a way to get more money out of people and make them employees. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, cool. If you didn't figure it out, I just told you what it's for, okay? The business courses you're taking is meant to make you a really good employee. They tell you about how all the ways you're going to fail in business, all the risks in business. And then they go, you know what? Forget about the business thing. Just go be a good employee for this corporation that's paying us all these alimonies. Cool? Okay. Well, if that was news to you, then I'm sure you'd be a little bit upset.
Save that student loan.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what you should do with that student loan? Invest it into a business because that's what you need that for. In order to become a business person, you don't need more debt. You need money. Right? Okay. Well, so here's what I did. I started looking for the who, not the how. By the way, if anyone here feels like, why is this guy so against school? Because I don't think it's benefiting most people. I think too many people are going to school. I think doctors should go, engineers should go, accountants should go, lawyers should go, but I don't think everyone should go the way everyone's going. Okay? That's my opinion. So I'm going to share it. If you're upset by that, you're in the wrong call. Okay? So, but here's the thing. I just want to illustrate to you, I had no idea how to make $85,000 a month. I didn't even know how to make $2,000 a month back then. But you know what I did know? I should go find the who. So I started getting the books. I started looking up some people who were successful, who were making millions, and I started reading their books. I started listening to their content because I didn't have a lot of people around me that were very successful. I mean, my dad was, my dad's friends were, but people that were young, like me, I didn't have that many. So I'm like, I got to go on the YouTube and watch the contents. I got to go and read the books. Is that clear for you? Yeah. Okay. By finding the who, my brain started to work. I start to read all these stories of these successful people and get some ideas. Then I start to think to myself, I need to find an opportunity that can get me there. And I kid you not, I remember it exactly. I remember like it was yesterday. I was 20. I was about to turn 20. It was like 2 weeks away from my birthday. I'm at the gym with a friend of mine at 5 a.m. because I used to read all these books and I thought you had to wake up at 5 a.m. to get rich. So I'm like, I'll wake up at 5 a.m., whatever. Right? I got into a couple car accidents. So I'm like, maybe there's a better way. Sleep deprivation is not a good idea. But either way, I was at the gym and I was telling him, I said, Dylan, I need to find an opportunity that I can apply all the stuff that I'm learning in these books. Because I'm learning all these awesome sales stuff in these books, leadership stuff, but I don't have anywhere to apply it. I just have a stupid job. I kid you not, a few days after that, my dad's like, oh, I have a friend of mine who's in the financial industry. You should go talk to him. And at first I was like, finance, I don't like math. I don't want to go. But then I'm like, what do I have to lose? And then I found WFG in that Burnaby office. And you know why I decided to do it? Because my reticular activation system went ding, 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 ding. This can get you to $1 million a year in 8 years. This is going to teach you the skills you need to learn to become $1 million earner. Go after this. I didn't care anything about anything other than this is going to make me better. This is going to help me grow, and it's going to give me a chance to get to where I want to get to. Is that clear with everyone? Yes. That's the power of having goals, because here's the best thing your goal will do for you. It will eliminate all your options. As soon as I decided I want to make $85,000 a month by 27, guess what I couldn't do? I couldn't be an engineer now. I couldn't be a doctor now. I couldn't be a lawyer now, because none of these things I could get to that kind of money at that soon. Is that clear? Yeah. My only option was business. I also wanted a business, not a self-employed job like real estate or mortgages or whatever. So that's why I didn't go towards that either. But when I saw WFG, I'm like, oh, I can be a business owner here and I can learn all the skills that business owners need. So even if I don't stay here, I can take everything I learned to something else. But all these books that I'm reading are telling me the same thing. Challenge yourself, get out of your comfort zone, face your fears. Here's where I can do all of that. And trust me, it was very fearful. It was way out of my comfort zone, and I got my butt handed to me left, right, and center. I walked into this thing, a cocky kid, really thinking, grow rich, I can achieve anything. Within 6 months, I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Why do I? But you know what? Everything happens for you, not to you. And I had to learn those lessons to eventually get to where I got to. And just so you know, 1 month before my 27th birthday, I made $96,000. Now, that being said, not all my goals have I achieved in the time that I set. Many of my goals, I set the goal and I didn't achieve it in that time. But all those goals helped me become better so I could eventually reach that big goal of mine. Is that clear? By the way, failing in that Burnaby office was a major reason why I achieved my goal. Because if I had succeeded there, who knows where I would be right now. See, back then it was depressing. Back then it seemed like I had failed. But when I look back, I go, thank God I failed. Because by failing there, I learned some things and I pivoted and I came and met Dave and this system and everything came after that. Clear with everyone?
Yes.
Okay. In order to have that long-term goal be effective, you need a medium-term goal. A medium-term goal is 2 to 5 years. It's like the milestones and the stepping stones getting there. For this one, it needs to be specific again, measurable, but it also needs to be achievable now. Okay, and we'll talk about that. It also needs to be relevant and time-bound. Now, by achievable, here's what I mean. If you can come up with a realistic game plan to achieve it, it's achievable. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If you can come up with a realistic game plan of here's what I do, and here's what I'll tell you guys. The game plan that you come up with in the beginning is going to suck and it's not going to work unless you have a mentor that's given it to you like we do in this business. In this business, we give you all the game plans and all the how-tos because we've already gone there. But if you have a goal that you don't have a mentor, you don't have someone who's already done it, your first couple game plans are going to suck. And if you're a perfectionist, you're never going to get there because you're never going to even do the first game plan. So you got to get over that. Okay. And by the way, perfectionism isn't a compliment. It's a fear of failure maximized. So some of you go, I'm a perfectionist. You put on your resume, my weakness is perfectionism. I won't hire you if that's your weakness. It's not impressive. You're just someone who's afraid of failure. So I'm like, if I tell you to do something, you're going to kill me before you do it. So if you put that on your resume as a weakness, we're not hiring you. Here's a better one. I work too hard. I'm a workaholic. My weakness is I'm a workaholic. I don't know when to stop. That's a good one. If you're doing resumes, this is resume advice for you. Okay? Thank you, Robson. Robson, you need to be on this side, Basso on this side. We have too much. We got Lexi. Actually, you're right. Lexi's got all of that. Here's the next thing, though. Guys. Now you need a short-term goal. This is why most people don't achieve their goals because they stop at the long-term goal. Most people make the long-term goal and then they stop. But if you don't have the short-term goal, the long-term goal is just a dream that's never going to come true. And here's what a short-term goal is. It's your game plan goal. It's a daily game plan goal. What you need to do on a daily basis to achieve your medium-term and long-term goals. You guys all got an EOC game plan when you're in our team. Yes or no? That EOC game plan is your daily game plan. That's your daily goal that if you hit, you can achieve that long-term goal for yourself. Is that clear for you?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the thing that I want you to remember again. It doesn't have to be perfect. And the easiest way to find it is to find the who again. You got to look for someone who's already got what you want, and they'll help you formulate that goal. And here's one secret that I'm going to give you. No matter what you do, there's only 3 to 5 skills you need to master. No matter what you do, there's only 3 to 5 skills to master, and there's only 2 to 5 things you need to do every day to achieve it. No matter what it is. Meaning, if you want to become a great soccer player, you need to learn how to pass, how to shoot, how to defend, how to be healthy and fit, and how to have that stamina. And then specific to your positions, you need to focus on one of those skills more than another. Is that clear? There's only 3 to 5 things you need to master. And there's only 2 to 5 things you need to do every single day to become the best at it. If you're coming up with more things than that, you're being too broad and too general. You need to get a little bit more specific. In our business, here's what you need to master. Inviting, following up, running meetings, and eventually when you have a team, leadership. That's it. It's 4 skills. All you need to do every day is inviting, following up, and running meetings. That's it. 3 things. You do these 3 things every day and you master these 4 skills, you'll become as rich as you want to be here. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, some of you are not excited. That was good news. You don't need that many stuff. Now, here's the next thing. You also need weekly goals and monthly goals. For me, every week is a quarter. Basketball is 4 quarters, yes or no? Okay. Football is 4 quarters, yes or no? Okay. Every week is a quarter to me. Every month is a game. If you lose a game, that game's gone. If you're trying to win the league in the NBA, don't you have to win most of your games to win the league? It's the same with your annual goals. When you got a goal, you got to win the majority of the months in order to achieve that goal. If you lose more than 6 months, it's going to be almost impossible for you to achieve your annual goal. I never like to say impossible because we've seen miracles happen. But here's what I can tell you. If you miss 9 months, it's over for that year. Meaning you lose 9 months out of 12, I have no vision of how you're going to achieve that annual goal now. But in order to win the game, meaning win the month, you got to win the quarter. The quarter is the week. In order to win the quarter, you got to win the daily game plans. Does that make sense? The daily game plan is every play of the game. You can miss 3 plays and still win the week and the quarter. You can miss, but if you miss 5 plays, you're losing the week. And you can lose 2 quarters and win the game, but you lose 3 quarters, it's almost impossible. So for me, here's what I've learned. If you measure your performance in smaller increments, your performance will improve much faster. Most people measure their life annually. They take a shot on New Year's, they go, here's my goals. And then next New Year's, they take another shot and they go, I didn't achieve them, let's try again. They measure annually. So they only have once a year to change. I measure my performance on an hourly basis because then every couple hours, I have a chance to change. If I messed up the last 3 hours of my day, I can make it up for the next 3 days. If you measure daily, that's even better. You messed up one day, at least you can, not better, that's worse, but it's better than yearly at least. If you're measuring weekly, okay, that's not bad. You're measuring monthly, that's okay. But if you really want to become an elite performer, I'm talking become the greatest of the greats, you got to measure your performance more often. My recommendation is every 3-4 hours, sit there for 5 minutes and go, how did I spend the last 3 hours? Was I productive? Was I on it? Was I focused? Was I urgent? Was I doing the right things to get to my goal? And if the answers are no, adjust. If the answer is yes, keep it going. Is that clear? Yes. Are we good so far? Yes. All right. Now let's talk about goal achieving. Is that okay? Yes. Here's the thing with achieving a goal. You need to define who you need to become to have what you want. You need to become a different version of you to get what you don't have right now. The definition of crazy is to do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result. Is that clear? Yes. So in order to change your results, you have to change. I love this quote by Jim Rohn. It's one of my favorites. He says, success is not something you pursue. What you pursue will elude you. It can be like trying to chase butterflies. Success is something you attract by the person you become. I'm going to say that one more time. Success is not something you pursue. What you pursue will elude you. It can be like chasing butterflies. Success is something you attract by the person that you become. I heard this quote the first time, and I'm like, that sounds cool. I didn't understand the bit of it. I'm like, what do you mean? Should I not try? Like, I don't know. What is he talking about? So if you feel that way, welcome to the club. Okay? But here's what I realized. The more successful I became and the more experience that I gained, I realized what he means by this. When you keep trying to chase the money, chase the results, chase the recruits, it just keeps running away from you. Right? But when you start to actually look internally and start changing within, that recruit you were chasing start chasing you. Because they're like, that's the type of energy that I want to be around. I don't know what it is about her or him. I want to be on their team. Does that make sense? Yes. The money starts finding you. All of a sudden, you're getting these referrals. And it's not like you're sitting on the couch. No. You're working. But you're giving off a different energy now. You're giving off a different vibe now. Does that make sense? Your vibe can only change when you change. Is that clear? Yes. So if you're not getting what you want, you need to only do one thing. Keeps growing. And the way you grow is by failing, by making mistakes, by trying, by adjusting, by changing, by self-talk session that we had a couple of weeks ago. Is that clear? Yes. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. Actually, let's talk about it right now. Who do you need to become? What habits do you need to develop? And here's how I want you to think about it. What habits as a person that you know has what you want, have? I have some ideas here for you if you're struggling with this, okay? What are the daily activities that will make you the person you want to become? That's the habits part. Does this person exercise? And do they make healthy choices or the unhealthy choices? Do they hit the snooze button? I don't care what time you wake up, but if you hit the snooze button, you're rejecting life. It could be 10 a.m., it could be 5 a.m. Do they hit the snooze button? I don't think they hit the snooze button, do they? By the way, no one's perfect. We all make these mistakes, but I'm saying, what do you imagine the habits of that person look like? Are they consuming positive and educational content on a frequent basis? Are they doing the daily activities relevant to their goal? Are they following that daily game plan consistently? Are they using their time productively or wasting it? Ask yourself these questions. If anything, actually write it down with me. Which one of these habits do you think you're missing right now? What do you need to do more of to get closer to that person you want to become? One of it might be taking action, because this is the time when you want to write it down.
Can we use the phone now?
Yeah, you can. Here's the next thing. What skills do you need to develop? What skills do you need to develop? Is it sales? Is it leadership? Is it communication? Is it learning to use your emotions instead of being used by them? What kind of character do you need to have? Here's an example of character: keeping the promises you make to yourself and others. What kind of mindset do you need to have? Abundance, committed, consistent, positive, open-minded, solution-oriented instead of problem-oriented. Hey, if you're confused by that one, let me explain it to you. Most people look for problems, not solutions. Yes. Most people's reticular activation system is designed to find all the reasons they can't do things instead of why they can. Right? I was talking to an MD today, and he was supposed to come in person, and he goes, oh, I couldn't come because this wasn't available. And I'm like, did you really go all the way to find the solution? And he goes, no, I didn't, honestly. Okay, no problem. Now he knows next time he'll be more solution-oriented. But that's an important mindset for successful people. They look for solutions, not problems. They look for lessons, not for criticism. I don't know how you feel about today's session. You might love it, you might hate it, but you should find something in it that you can get value from because you spend your time watching it anyways. Is that clear? That's what successful people do. They find the lessons. They don't wait till they come to them. Here's the next thing. What kind of feelings does that person feel often? Do they feel gratitude often? Do they feel desire and ambition often? Do they feel joy? Do they feel peace? Do they feel healthy levels of stress and urgency? There's healthy levels of stress and urgency. You need to achieve bigger things, right? There's unhealthy ones, but there's also healthy ones. And are they enthusiastic often? If you can identify who you need to become, you can find the holes that you need to fill to become the person you need to become to attract what you want. That's why this is so important. And by the way, you might have heard this before. You need to hear it 100 times if you're still not doing it. Here's what I can tell you right now. Instruction is nowhere near as important as reminders. You're better off reading the same book 45 times than reading 45 different books. I'm going to say that one more time because some of you go like, these sessions all sound the same. It's because you're not changing. You're the same person. If you change, the session changes because there's a different tune that you're in now. There's a different frequency. And this is not me saying it. But I read the same book so many times, and every time I read it, it's a different book for me because I've become a different person. I go, shoot, I didn't get this chapter last time. Now I get it. So reminders are significantly more important than instruction. So you might have seen this before. Have you changed since that time? If not, maybe this is another reminder. Here's the next thing. Change your associations. You want to become that person fast. Who here would like to become that person or on their way to becoming that person? Right? Okay. Let me give you the cheat code. You know how in GTA you had the cheat code, unlimited money, and you went crazy? But okay, let me tell you the cheat code to this. Spend more time with people that have those qualities. Yes. You go, well, I don't have anyone around me that has those qualities. I know who does. Tony Robbins. Listen to his audiobooks. I know who does. Patrick Bet-David. Listen to his content. Yes or no? Yes. See, I didn't have many friends when I started on this path. I definitely didn't have the right friends when I started on this path. But you know what? I did have my audiobooks, my books. And that was the way that I was associating with those people. Guess what started happening when that was my grandpa was like Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn was my grandpa. Every time somebody quit grandpa, what do? And then he would build your network marketing business. He would tell me exactly what I should know over and over and over again. I'm serious right now. But guess what happens when you keep getting that input? Eventually, it becomes your output. And then I start talking like Jim Rohn, like Tony Robbins, like these guys. And then people who vibe with that same kind of connection start to find me and get around me. Like, I don't know who this guy is, but he sounds like he's saying some good stuff. We should grab coffee sometime. Yeah. See, don't wait until you find the right people. Find them. They're all over the place. They're on YouTube. They're on Audible for audiobooks. They're in the freaking library as well in the book section. Does that make sense? Yeah. And once you start consuming that content, you start talking like them. When you start talking like them, you can't help but attract those kind of people. Does that make sense to everyone? Is that clear? Okay, here's the next thing. Here's a hugely important thing when it comes to achieving your goals. Being a great coach to yourself. Who do you spend the most time with? You are the person you spend the most time with. How good of a coach are you to you? Think about it for a second. Because a great coach takes 100% responsibility and is fully honest with what is happening in reality. Okay? Unfortunately, people misunderstand being positive for being delusional. You know why the self-help and personal development side gets some critique? Because there's too many kumbaya people in it. Too many people who are waiting for Cinderella or the Tooth Fairy. That's delusion. There's a difference between being positive and delusional. I'm going to tell you what the difference is, because being a great coach doesn't mean being delusional. It means being very positive. Here's the difference. A positive person has a positive perspective on the things they can't control and see exactly where they fail without exaggeration and can also pat themselves on the back for their wins and progress. I'm going to say that one more time. A positive person has a positive perspective on things they can't control. This sound, this construction sound, I can't control it. But I'm like, it's a beat now. We're vibing, you know? This drill is making me vibe right now. And see exactly where they fail without exaggeration. And can also pat themselves on the back for their wins and progress. A negative person has a negative perspective on things they can't control. This person doesn't say everything happens for me, not to me. You know what this person says? Why me? Are you excluded from challenges? Kids can starve to death in other countries. They can be in places that there's, missiles hitting them and they're having problems every day, but you can't have a pimple? Why did this pimple come? But actually think, why not you? What excludes you from challenges? What excludes you from misery? If you're a human being, guess what? That's part of the process. That's part of the recipe. Shit happens. And some shit happens that's way worse than anything that's ever going to happen to you. Thank God. But this person doesn't go, everything happens for me, not to me. That's not their perspective on things they can't control. Their perspective is victim. Why me? How come? It's so unfair. Some of these people that are on their phone again, and they probably have that why me. I can't help but go on my phone as if it's a disease. Throw it away. Throw your phone away. Right? And here's another thing that they do. They exaggerate their failures and underplay their successes. They exaggerate their failures and underplay their successes. Here's what they do. When they fail, they think the world has just witnessed them fail and it's the worst thing. And they fail an exam and they think there was an audience for it. Oh, what are they going to think? No one thinks. No one cares. No one even knows you failed. And then when they succeed, they go, I probably got lucky. It was an accident. Is that a good way to coach yourself? The reality is a great coach needs to be encouraging to yourself, but at the same time, you need to have the willingness to call yourself out and be realistic. You should be encouraging to yourself, but you should also call yourself when you need to be called out. Here's the difference between a bad coach and a great coach. A bad coach will say, you are lazy, and that's why you are a loser. By the way, some of you think, no way a coach would say that. You say that to yourself every day. Actually think about the way you talk to yourself. Oh, I'm so stupid. I can't believe it. I embarrassed myself again. So before you laugh at this and think this is some exaggeration, I know, because I used to be a bad coach to myself too. You know what a great coach does instead? They say you are being lazy and that's why you are losing. There is a difference between you are lazy and that's why you are a loser, and saying you are being lazy in this moment and that's why you are losing in this moment. See, you are being lazy can be changed. Losing currently can be changed. But if you identify yourself as a loser or as a lazy person, how are you going to change that? That's just who you are, isn't it? I don't say I am being Persian. I am Persian. It's Do you understand the difference? So a great coach doesn't identify you in a negative way. They just call you out for behaving in a negative way so you can change it, so you can change your results. Is that clear? Yes. Okay. You got to take 100% responsibility for your life, but you also have to be encouraging and have the right self-talk. That's why we do a full hour-and-a-half session on self-talk, because that's the coach within, and that's the most important coach in your life. Is that okay with everyone? Yes. Awesome. Okay, let's continue. Here are the 4 things you need to become successful at whatever level you want to become successful. I'm here to share some good news before we go off. You don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. You could wake up at 11 a.m. and still become successful. I'm not suggesting it. I'm just letting you know. You also don't need to have a six-pack. Go look at Elon Musk. He doesn't have a six-pack. Jeff Bezos got a six-pack after he got rich, not before. Okay? The most successful people are not necessarily super fit, so they're not going to the gym at 5 a.m. every day like these YouTubers are telling you. So all that stuff that you're being told is not wrong, but it's not necessary. Here's what's necessary. You need to have a high level of desire. You need to have a high level of belief and faith. You need to have the high level of enthusiasm, and you need to have the right focus. Now, let me share something. If you wake up early and go to the gym, are you more likely to believe in yourself? Yes. Are you more likely to have higher desire because you have a higher confidence in yourself? Yes. If you read the right books, if you come to the right sessions, if you remind yourself about your goals all the time, are you more likely to be enthusiastic? Yes. See, all these habits that we talk about are important, but they're important because they're supposed to fan the flames of these things. But if you have these things, that's what matters the most. Here's what people do that is a mistake. They hit the snooze button and they disqualify themselves from having that goal. I want to share something about me. I lack a lot of consistency when it comes to my morning routine. Just so you know, I don't wake up at 5 a.m. That's ridiculous. Okay? I wake up at 7 a.m., sometimes 7:30. I might work towards 6:30, but I'm not going past that. Okay? I'm not joining the 3 a.m. club. That's a weird place to be. Okay? Good for the 3 a.m. club. For me, having energy at 9 p.m. is more important than waking up at 3 and looking at the wall. Okay? Who am I going to call at 3 a.m.? You think I'm going to mentor someone at 3 a.m.? Hey, you up? Hey. Our business is a people business. I need to be up when people are up. What am I going to do at 3 a.m.? So here's the thing. Stop trying to copy people because it sounds good. I made that mistake and I got into a couple car accidents, okay? Figure out what works for you. Figure out how much sleep your body needs and figure that out. Figure out for your business and your goal what time to what time you need to be up. Is that clear? For me, I need to be energized at 10 p.m. So waking up at 5 a.m. doesn't make sense to me. Now, somebody else can do it, good for them. But the point is, stop disqualifying yourself because you don't meet the standards of Andy Frizzell or one of these YouTubers that are army guys. Good for them, but you don't need to do that stuff. What you need to do is have a high level of desire, have a lot of belief and faith in yourself, focus on the right things, and have the right level of enthusiasm. And yes, the things they tell you can help you have those things. But it's not a requirement. I'd rather you not do those things than when you don't do them, disqualify yourself and shit on yourself. So if you can do it from a mature point of view where you go, it's okay, maybe today I missed it, but I'll do it tomorrow. From a mature point of view, you're on the right track. But if you're going to beat yourself up every time you don't read, then it's not worth it. So understand the way you achieve a goal is by doing the behaviors aligned with that goal. If you want to get fit, you got to go to the gym and have a great workout. If it helps you to wake up early to have a great workout, then wake up early. Make sense? So all those personal development habits, I'm religious about as well. But the reason I am is because it helps me kindle the fire of these 4 areas. But I know these 4 areas is what matters the most. So even if I miss waking up at a certain time one day, or I miss reading the book, or I miss the journal or whatever, I'm not going to sit there and ruin the rest of my day. I go, you know what? I'll do better tomorrow, but let me see how I can still stay focused, have a high level of belief in myself, have a lot of enthusiasm in my actions, and have even more desire than yesterday. And let me share something with you. The higher the desire is, the easier all the rest of them are. Enthusiasm is the emotion you put behind what you do. There's many times I show my enthusiasm with anger, sometimes it's with sadness, sometimes it's with happiness. But enthusiasm is not a particular emotion, it's an emotion. It's when your heart is behind what you're doing. Right now, you feel I'm excited? Because I'm not doing this logically. I'm not reading off notes right now in front of you. I'm giving you a message from my heart. Is that clear? That's enthusiasm. When you do things with enthusiasm, you connect with people because we're emotional creatures. Belief and faith, that's the level of belief you have in what you're doing and how you're going to get there. And so many times you feel our goal is so far away, that's why we don't get there. You know what's the biggest mistake that people make that keeps them from achieving their goal? They forget that they had a goal in the first place. See, the farther you're away from your goal, the more you want to get away from it. Because if you keep reminding of yourself of what you don't have, you feel bad, right? Feeling bad is what got me here. Honestly speaking. You know why I passed high school? Because I would feel bad if I failed and my dad, gave me a yelling. So for me, I never saw feeling bad as a bad thing. My coaches yelled at me sometimes and it made me score a goal. Sometimes I didn't run back to defend and my coaches yelled at me and it made me come back and defend. Is that clear? So for me, even if I feel like I'm far from my goal, I have to read my goals even more. I have to be on top of my whys even more because now it's even harder for me to keep going. When you're doubtful, when you're discouraged, it's way harder to keep going. So don't you need more fuel? But what do most people do? When they're far away from it, they go, oh, I'm not going to read my goals this morning because it makes me feel bad. Feel bad and get to work. I was actually watching a video today and they said when you envision your future happening in a positive way, sometimes you get complacent. You know what I get? What helps me get myself going? The nightmare, not the dream. Honestly speaking, I sit there and I go, if I don't get to work right now, what's my future going to look like in 3 years and how bad am I going to feel? Okay, I'm back to work. Because let me tell you something about human nature. We're more motivated to avoid pain than to seek pleasure. So sometimes you got to turn on the nightmare channel to get to work. And I turn that channel on often. Where I go, oh, you know what? If I stay in bed today, here's how I'm going to feel. Here's what it's going to look like. Here's what it's going to look like at the next. Okay, I'm going to get up and I'm going to get to work. By the way, you do this every day for work. Just so you know. You do this every day for your job. Why do you show up to your job even though you're tired? Because you go, shit, if I don't show up, I'm going to get yelled at and I'm going to get fired. I'm going to show up anyways. Don't you? So this is not alien to you. You're just not doing it for your dreams. But you should. Sometimes you got to sit there and go, here's a good question to ask yourself. What if you never show your parents what you're really made of? I don't know. I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad, but this is the way I think. This is the way I operate. Where I sit there and go, if I don't make it and if I don't become successful, and God forbid something happens to my parents, they never get a chance to see what I'm made of. I'm gonna have that regret for the rest of my life. And then I go, let me get to work. I don't feel like it, but I'm gonna get to work anyways. Sounds dark, but that darkness is gonna become a reality if you don't do something about it. You know, some of you want to retire your parents. When they're 98, it's too late. No, I'm being serious right now, though. Where are you gonna send them at 98 to Mexico? What are they gonna do? They're gonna go like on a jet ski at 98. I hope if they're hitting the gym every day and they're jacked, I hope. But I'm just saying, if you're gonna retire your parents, the time's clicking. TikTok. And by the way, you might not have a chance because who knows what's gonna happen. If this is making you feel bad, that's the objective of what I'm doing right now. Because making you feel good isn't getting you to move fast enough. So sometimes, here's the best way. Sometimes you need to cry to get to work. Sometimes you sit there and you go, shit, if I don't, okay, I can't. I'm going to go anyways. It's hard to study the license until you think about the nightmare of not having that license. I'm telling you, because I'm going to say one more time, the tooth fairy isn't coming, guys. If you've been waiting, I know Rob said, right? If you don't change, your life's not going to change. And it's very hard to change sometimes. I get it. We're humans. But whatever you can do to press that button to change, you should. And for me, the nightmare is a good way to go. I'm going to finish on this last thing. Focus. What do you focus on? Okay? And then we're going to be done. When I say focus, I'm not just talking about focusing on a training like this. I'm talking about where does your mind go when you're not thinking? Meaning, when you're not doing something, where do you go when you focus on? Here are the different ones. Negative people that don't achieve results, they go to scarcity, lack, and an entitlement kind of feeling. Here's what that means. That means they're operating. Focus is all about what they don't have, what they're missing, and why they should have it, why they deserve it, but they're not getting it, how life is unfair to them. That's the foundation of a negative focus that will get you to hell, not to heaven. The positive focus that gets you to heaven, and when I talk about heaven, I'm talking about here, not about after here. I'm talking about heaven on earth or hell on earth. It's about what you focus on, because your life is only your perspective. If you focus on abundance and gratitude, that's your foundation to heaven. Here's what I was talking to Roman about the other day. I was like, I realized that a lot of people pray, but they're praying from a point of scarcity. God, please. And while they're saying please like that, they're thinking about all the things that they don't have and how bad it is that they don't have it. I said, what if people started praying and thanking God for what they have instead of asking for more? Because here's the thing, the law of attraction, there's one thing about it. Gratitude is the door to it. So if you can be in a state of gratitude more often, you're going to receive way more. Meaning if you can look around and see all the things that you have, it's easier to get more. But if you're looking for what you don't have, that's all you're going to keep getting. See, a negative person is full of limits and excuses. A positive person is limitless in their mind. They believe they can truly achieve whatever they want. Not from a delusional place, but from a belief. They take 100% responsibility for their outcomes in life. Negative people have a victim mindset where they're constantly blaming and complaining. There's a lot of people that don't like what's happening to Canada. I'm with you. But if you go somewhere else, I don't think it's going to be that much better if you don't change. Yeah. Right? So my advice to you is before you go to Colombia, make sure you change. Right? Then you can enjoy Colombia. Lexi did. I'm not saying she did. She made $35,000 in Colombia. She's obviously changed. But I'm saying a lot of people go there thinking their life's going to change. But if you don't change, your life's not going to change. Lexi changed and then went to different places. Does that make sense? That's the right way to do it. But if you just look at these stories and go, that's my solution, it's not your solution if you're the same person. Is that clear? Here's another thing. Positive perspective on things they can't control. Negative perspective on things they can't control. Like we talked about. Is it everything happens for me, not to me, or everything happens to me? Which one is it? Because if it's everything happens for me, then there's an opportunity that you can find. Your reticular activation system is looking for it. If it's everything happens to me, there is no opportunity. It's just unfair and you're unlucky. If it's darkest right before dawn, there is a better future. There's a compelling future. There's a dawn. If it's just darkness, then you're screwed. You know, I was listening to an audio and it was an amazing perspective I want to share with you. The guy says that when people are in darkness, they feel like they're buried. But you know what I think? I think they're just planted. Let me tell you what that means. Buried means you're dead. Planted means it's the seed that's planted that's about to grow. So when you're in darkness, are you buried or are you planted? Is it an opportunity for you to come out the best version of you, or are you buried and done and dead? That's a perspective. Here's another one. Invites and appreciates failure, avoids and despises failure. So the positive focus appreciates failure, invites it into their life because they know the more they fail, the more chance they have to succeed. The negative person, guess what they do instead? They despise failure. They hate it. They run away from it. They curse it. And here's one thing that I got to tell you. If you avoid failure, you're also avoiding success. Positive, excited by challenges. Negative, afraid of challenges. Because what if I can't handle it? Well, then you'll learn and handle it next time. Isn't that true? What if you mess up? So what? You're not dead. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger is actually true. If this session was crappy for you, I'm good with that. I'm going to learn, I'm going to get some feedback, and I'm going to get better. And if it's great, I'm also good for it. I'm still going to look for ways to get better. Because my objective isn't to do one session and be done with. My objective is to get better every time. So next time you see me, you go, wow, this guy actually got better since last time. Is that clear? Yes. See, the negative is doubtful. The positive is faithful. Faith and doubt are the opposite side of a coin. You choose which side you're on. Anyone can be doubtful, anyone can be faithful. It just depends what side of the coin you want to look at. Manifest what they don't want. For example, I don't want people to quit on me. I'm broke. When you say I'm broke, you think it's solving a problem? No. It's just reminding you about all the mistakes you've made and making you discouraged. When you think I don't want chargebacks, guess what? You're going to get chargebacks. Because now you're going to go into your meetings being nervous and your clients are like, this person's being weird. What the hell is going on? Maybe I should second guess this. Seriously, you get what you don't want when you... The word don't doesn't exist in law of attraction. So when you say chargebacks, your brain goes, let's get chargebacks. But here's the difference. You manifest, I want to recruit more people, and with enough numbers, the right ones will show themselves. That's the opposite coin of, I don't want people to quit on me. I don't want people to quit on me. It's hell. This is heaven. Okay? I'm on my way to financial freedom is the other side of I'm broke. Hey, if you're broke, but you're on your way to better financial future, what side of the coin do you want to look at? The broke side or the financial freedom side? It's a choice. And what you focus on is what you experience. Here's another one. I will have a higher net point ratio. Instead of thinking, I don't want chargebacks, why not think I want to have a higher net point ratio? And here's the last one. I want to win instead of I don't want to lose. Instead of focusing on how you don't want to lose, why don't you focus on how you're going to win? Because here's the last thing I'm going to leave you off with, and then we're done. For those of you that are tired. I'm sorry I tired you out. Okay? What you get in life is what you focus on. You can ignore this. You can call it kumbaya, but show me your results and I'll show you mine. I have no problem. You line up here. We'll exchange bank accounts. I'll show you my checking account. You show me yours. Once we're done, I'll tell you who's right and who's not. Because I built my life on this. I'm serious. We're just showing. We're not exchanging. We're not exchanging. We're not exchanging. But my point is, guys, whenever I listen to something and it was different than what I'm used to, I looked at their results on mine and I'm like, maybe I need to have the thing that I'm not used to. Maybe I need to sit and pay attention, right? So that's what it is. So thank you for being here. Okay? Seriously. I'm serious. I'm serious. I actually want to say this. Thank you so much for spending an hour and a half of your life to be better. Thank you so much for making that sacrifice. This is why I know you're going to win. This is why I believe in all of you. Give yourself a round of applause, not me. Thank you. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.